Is there really such a thing as sex addiction? Is porn making us less satisfied with our own partners? And what can we do about it? These are just some of the questions that will be answered in this video. Softly Confessing has been asked to dive into the harmful effects on pornography. So if you like this video, please subscribe and turn on notifications, because then I can keep you up to date on all things awesome related to your sexuality. This video is based on the book called Beyond the Screen, which was written by Dr. Emily Moore. It is an excellent book, and if you are interested in this topic, I highly recommend reading it. So let's dive right in. The American Psychiatric Association defines sexual disorder as a clinically significant disturbance in sexual desire, arousal, or pleasure and pain that occurs in the absence of psychological distress or interpersonal difficulty. The most common sexual disorders are erectile disorder, premature ejaculation, inhibited sexual desire, vaginismus, and lack of orgasmic function. But people also struggle with compulsive sexual behaviors, which are not listed in the DSM as actual disorders, but they are recognized as a problem. Compulsive sexual behaviors include excessive sexual fantasies, internet pornography use, cybersex, masturbation, and sex addiction. So how many of you recognize yourself in these examples? Now hold on, because this might sound judgmental, but the key word here is compulsive. That means that even though these behaviors might feel really good in the moment, over time they become problematic for you personally, either because you feel that you are doing them too often, too compulsively, or because these behaviors negatively affect other important areas of your life, such as work, finances, relationships, or health. For example, according to a recent study, men who spent more than 8 hours a week watching porn were found to have lower testosterone levels than those who have. Researchers speculate that this may be due to a phenomenon known as neurochemical adaptation. It's been observed that dopamine receptors become less sensitive after exposure to very rewarding stimuli, like drugs, gambling, or yes, porn. This decreased sensitivity may lead to a reduced response to natural rewards, like sex with a partner. I guess that's why they say nothing is as good as the first time. So let's take a look at where science is today. Let's start with the effects of porn on our brain. In a book called Wired for Love, neuroscientist Helen Fisher and author Lucy Brown describe human love as an obsession, a state of being completely absorbed in another person to the exclusion of all else. She says that the key to falling in love is novelty. When something is new, interesting, and exciting, our brain releases a cocktail of neurotransmitters, including dopamine, which makes us feel good. Dopamine is one of the main pleasure-producing chemicals in our brain. Interestingly, dopamine does not create the feeling of pleasure itself. Instead, it motivates us to repeat a behavior that makes us feel good. So essentially, novelty creates the obsessive state of being in love. Now, when it comes to sex, the experience that gives the biggest dopamine release is ejaculation. However, as I already mentioned, over time, the brain adapts to the constant stimulation and the effect of dopamine wears off. You need more and more of it to get the same high. For example, drug addicts often need larger and larger doses of their drug of choice to achieve the desired effect. Over time, they also build a tolerance so that even high doses don't produce the expected results. And this is exactly what happens with porn as well. The more porn you watch, the more intense and frequent the dopamine release needs to be in order to get you to orgasm. And the higher the dosage of porn, the higher the risk of addiction. You see, our brains have evolved to expect a big reward after a huge investment of energy. When we fall in love, we invest a lot of energy into pursuing the object of our affection. Dating takes time and effort. We need to find someone, approach them, get to know them, be charming, look attractive, and sometimes even compete for their attention. So it only makes sense that the reward we get back is a strong, lasting, and deeply pleasurable physical connection. However, porn offers the reward without the investment. Sure, it might be entertaining and exciting at first, but watching porn doesn't require much investment in terms of time, effort, attraction, connection, or even originality. So according to evolutionary psychology, our brains should not get as much of a dopamine release from watching porn as they do from having sex. But this isn't the case. According to a survey conducted by Dr. Emily Morse, who I already mentioned earlier, 97% of men and 67% of women between the ages of 18 and 40 admitted to watching porn compulsively. Men reported spending an average of 7.4 hours per week watching porn, while women reported spending 3 hours per week. These numbers are hard to ignore, and they tell us that the majority of people are getting most of their sexual stimulation from porn rather than real life. So what is wrong with that? Well, for one, as I already mentioned, porn decreases our sensitivity to pleasure, both physical and emotional, so when we're with our partners, we may not be able to enjoy the experience as much as we could if we had gotten used to the artificial enhancement of porn. Second, porn affects our ability to communicate with our partners. According to sex therapist Ian, most people are unable to communicate effectively about sex, and porn use only exacerbates this problem. Porn becomes a barrier to good communication, because we feel uncomfortable telling our partners about the bizarre kinks and preferences that we've developed after watching porn. but this is a shame-free zone. So if you have any unusual requests or preferences, please share them with me in the comments below. I promise I won't judge you. Maybe we can even help each other with some role-playing ideas. The third problem with porn is unrealistic expectations. Most porn is produced by large companies that can afford to pay actors to perform. This means that the average person cannot realistically replicate the porn experience in their bedroom. Watching porn can also give us unrealistic expectations about our own bodies and performance. One study conducted by researchers Ryan Boyd and Daniel Gilbert asked participants to rate various aspects of sex, including the frequency and length of intercourse, the attractiveness of their partner, and the quality of their relationship. They found that those who watched porn had higher expectations about sex than those who didn't. Another study conducted by Van den Einden and colleagues found that watching porn increased the importance that people placed on physical appearance during sex. And finally, 4. Porn impacts our empathy and ability to have agency. According to Karl Chernetsky, a psychologist and chair of the Masters University Department of Psychology, viewing others as objects instead of people decreases our empathy and decreases our ability to have agency. Agency refers to our ability to make decisions about our own body and to have control over our sexual experiences. When we outsource our sexuality to porn, we stop experiencing our own body as a source of pleasure. Instead, we view our body as a vessel that receives pleasure. This separation from our own body makes it difficult for us to connect with our partner in a deep and meaningful way. Instead, we treat our partner like a tool to achieve the goal of orgasm. So now you might be wondering, is there a way out of this mess? Yes, there is. Just follow these 3 steps. First, change the way you think about porn. Remember, porn is meant to entertain, not to educate. It's made by companies that want to make a profit, not by sex educators who care about your well-being. It's okay to be curious and to explore your sexuality, but do it in a healthy way. If you wouldn't show a porn video to your grandmother, maybe you shouldn't be watching it either. Second, set boundaries for yourself. Decide in advance how much time you want to spend watching porn and stick to it. Just like you wouldn't let your friends borrow money that you need to pay your rent, you shouldn't let porn take up all of your mental and physical resources. Also, try to find other activities that bring you pleasure. Read a book, take a bubble bath, go for a walk in nature, spend time with loved ones, or learn something new. The more options you have, the better. And finally, 3. Prioritize your connection with your partner. Make time for intimacy and affection, even if you're busy. A simple kiss or a hug can go a long way. If you're not sure how to prioritize your relationship, consider couples therapy. It can help you and your partner learn how to communicate more effectively and make time for each other despite busy schedules. I hope that this video was helpful and that you learned something new. Please share this video with your friends and family if you think it will be useful for them. And if you liked this video, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that I can keep you up to date on all things awesome related to your sexuality. Have a magical day, and I will see you next time.